In the annals of history, we often heard about the grand gestures, the pivotal battles, and the charismatic leaders. But sometimes, it is the quiet acts of loyalty, the small decisions made in times of crisis that change the course of nations. Today's video will tell a story that will change your perception about humanity, especially in times of war. A tale that begins in the chaos of the Nigeria Civil War and ends in the corridor of power and finance. It all started in 1967 during the Nigeria Civil War. The country was tearing itself apart and the tension was high. The Igbo people fled other parts of the country for the east because their lives were threatened. Many of them abandoned their homes, properties and businesses for safety reasons. One of the Igbos who fled Lagos was a young architect who had a young Yoruba banker as neighbor in Apapa, Lagos. Before he left, he was heartbroken. He felt he was leaving behind everything that he had worked for. He cast a final glance at the house he built with his hard-earned money before going back to the east. The war lasted for 3 long years. While other people took advantage of abandoned properties, the young Yoruba banker did the opposite. He rented out his Igbo neighbor's house who had fled to the east. Throughout the 3 years the war lasted, the young Yoruba banker kept every penny from the rent he collected on his neighbor's house while the neighbor was in the east. When the war was over in 1970, as Nigeria began to heal, the young architect cautiously returned to Lagos. His heart raced as he returned to his old street, expecting to find his home either looted or destroyed. Instead, he witnessed something that changed his perception about humanity forever. He found his Yoruba neighbor waiting in front of his house with a warm smile and a stack of documents. Initially, he got scared. He thought his greatest nightmare had come to reality. But what happened was the opposite. The young banker exchanged pleasantry with the architect and handed over the document he was holding to him. He said, "Here is every penny from the rent and I have had your house renovated." The young architect was speechless. He was overwhelmed by the banker's heart of loyalty, or should I say kindness. He never expected it. In a world torn apart by ethnic strife, the banker's gesture was a beacon of hope. Years passed and both men's fortunes rose. The Igbo architect went into politics and became the vice president of Nigeria. The Yoruba banker, on the other hand, driven by his vision for financial reform, founded the first indigenous private commercial bank that was neither funded by the government or a foreign body. However, he could not get a license to begin his operation. Many forces were against him because it was unheard of for a private individual to single-handedly establish a commercial bank without government support. When the frustration of getting a banking license was becoming too much, he suddenly remembered his old friend who was now the vice president of Nigeria. He tried using the official channel to reach out to the vice president of Nigeria and tell him about his ordeal in getting a banking license. But as you all know it, he was unable to see the vice president due to bureaucratic bottleneck. In a last-ditch effort, he and his wife came up with a daring plan. They planned to see if they could get the attention of the vice president in the church. They positioned themselves in a way that the vice president could easily see them while in the church. However, people following the vice president and his security details prevented him from seeing his old neighbors that were desperately trying to get his attention. That was when the banker's wife decided to take a risk. She pulled the vice president's clothes to get his attention, and when he turned back, he saw his old neighbor. The vice president was very happy as he embraced his old-time neighbor and they started having a conversation. During the conversation, the young banker told the vice president about his challenges and how he had tried to reach him on several occasions but unable to do that. He further told the vice president about his inability to obtain a banking license. The vice president smiled and said, "Don't worry, my friend. Just come to the Federal Executive Council meeting tomorrow, which I would preside over because President Shagari would not be there." By 3 p.m. the next day, the banker that has been trying so hard to get a license suddenly received a call from the Minister of Finance. The minister told the banker that his banking license was ready, and the rest, they say, is history. The young banker was Otumba Michael, Olasubomi Balogun, while the architect was one of our elder statesmen and the former Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, late Dr. Alex Ekweme. The bank is what is now First City Monument Bank. One good turn, they say, truly deserves another. What do you think about this story? Let me know in the comment below, and don't forget to like this video. I appreciate your support. Thank you.